look at all the peoples. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me for this live stream. It's a juicy one. We have some really great stuff to discuss. Hey, Adam, I've got my snowflake shirt on because there was a snowstorm in New York City this morning. And I'll have a spoiler review for you for Madam Web tomorrow. There's no screenings this evening. Usually they have screenings the night before a movie debuts. Not for this one. So that's why I'm not dropping it today. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, everybody. You know what it is? It's the first live stream of the week, and you know what that means? Time for me to gift some memberships. Here they come. Hey, nobody. Here they come. 5 memberships. I gift them at the beginning of every week. I'm trying to match the generosity of you guys. You guys are so nice. Oh, let's see here. There we go. Here they come. Jerome gifted a membership as well. Thank you so much. Brandon, welcome back. Nobody, welcome back. It's so nice to see everybody. Tomorrow, there will be a Valentine's Day stream earlier in the day because I have plans in the evening. And I do have a special outfit planned, which I'm very excited about. We'll have a really good time. But yes, so much good stuff to discuss today. Hey, Ben Pello. Anna, thank you for gifting a membership. We're going to get started on the 3 stories of the day. Always try to keep your comments and questions to the story at hand. And if you have something you want to talk about that doesn't pertain to today's stories, don't worry about it. That's what the Q&A at the end of every stream is for. Oh, yes, that's what I wanted to say. Oh, thanks, Danny. That's what I wanted to say. The BTT Inside Access private Q&A is going to be in the next week or so. We'll pick a date shortly. I think I have it in my scheduled one. I don't know when I said I was going to look at it, but it's coming. And we're going to set one really soon. Don't worry. There's one every month. Aralysis, thank you for gifting a membership. And hey, Trisha, let's start talking about some record-breaking viewership. All right, so here we go. I loaded up so many graphics. That's why I was a little bit late for today's stream. It's Graphic City, baby. All right. Story number 1. Boop. All right, so it turns out everybody was tuning into the Super Bowl on Sunday night. Sunday. Thanks, Rob. I just can't tell you how cool it was. And even because I debuted the new live trailer breakdown, which I'm very happy with the way it turned out. I'm going to continue doing that. So keep an eye out for live trailer breakdowns whenever a big trailer drops. That's going to become a new thing, and they'll always be open to all subscribers in the comment section. Whereas these news live streams will stay with members being the ones in the comments. So the BTT videos diversify. Hey, Nate, thanks for gifting that. But I was able even to watch a little bit of the game myself, and it was a nail biter. I was like, how's this thing tied? It's the 4th quarter. So it was really fun to watch. And I saw a lot of people commenting on how finally the Super Bowl had a little bit of something for everyone. And it seems that it very much did, because it's the most watched Super Bowl of all time. All right, so here's the first graphic. Where'd it go? Oh, no, wait, that's the wrong one. Nope. Okay, there we go. That's a little sneak preview of coming attractions. All right, so these are the most watched television broadcasts of all time. Only the moon landing had more viewership. However, that's when less people were on the Earth, right? That's in 1969, and we're getting close. Pretty soon we're going to unseat that. But although it's a vague number, soon we're going to unseat the low end of the moon landing. At 125, but they're saying it also could go went as high as 150. Although, come on, it was landing on the moon. Obviously, it's going to be hard to top that. Taylor Swift and the Super Bowl, but it came close, which I think is funny. So the Super Bowl this year had 123.4 million viewers, unseating last year's Super Bowl, which was the previous runner-up at 115. So almost 10 million more. This was thanks not only, I think, to the CBS situation, but also, I believe, where'd it go? There we go. Too many graphics. All right, SpongeBob. I think the SpongeBob simultaneous cast that they had on Nickelodeon really turned out to be well done. Now, Disney's done something like that in the past with Toy Story football, But I think that what was interesting about SpongeBob football was that it also appealed to adults. It taught football to everyone, and then also they had the actual voice actors for Patrick and SpongeBob live on set with motion capture outfits on, doing the jokes. Clearly, neither of those gentlemen knows very much about football. I was watching some of the best moments, and I was like, you guys don't know anything about football. It was hilarious. I mean, I think even I could do a little bit, know a little bit more about football than them. But still, it was awesome that they did it. It was great that they were there live to do the voice work. And I think that was just a really, really fantastic idea. Adam Sphere, I believe it was the creator of SpongeBob who passed away, not the gentleman who does the voice. Isn't it like Tom Kinney or something, right? But they were both there. So, David, your question's a little early. I'm trying to stick to the story at hand. So I think the first obvious question would be, is it the Taylor Swift effect? I think for sure it's partially the Taylor Swift effect, but I don't think it's just entirely Taylor. I think it's a non-sports celebrity being heavily involved in the situation. Joe Namath was, I went to the Paley Center here in New York City over the weekend. They had a wonderful Super Bowl exhibit. And I watched, yeah, that's right, Rogue Frogger, The Perfect Storm. And I saw a little bit about how Joe Namath was the first celebrity quarterback and how he kind of like crossed over into Hollywood and popular culture. And I think that was very interesting. And then if anybody watched Winning Time, and I hope that you did because it was phenomenal, Winning Time really talked about how they transformed basketball into something where the celebrities were there. They invented the idea of the dancers and cheerleaders at the halftime and stuff like that, and also getting celebrities in the front row. But although, of course, in that case, they were largely fans. They were there as fans, whereas Taylor Swift is there because she's dating Travis Kelce. I've seen a lot of people referring to them as the king and queen. It's like American royalty. And I think no matter how you might feel about it, it's certainly something that's very popular and gets a lot of clicks, both for positive and negative coverage. And also, I think the bottom line is it's a narrative. It's a narrative outside of sports that anybody can follow. Anyone can have an opinion on what they think of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I do think it's helping Travis Kelce's career for sure. I don't think he has the ability to become an actor or anything like that. But I bet you he could follow the path of Michael Strahan, who of course also came from sports and is still involved in sports, does a lot of commentating and hosting. But I feel if you're going to look for what Travis Kelce could do, we talk about actors following in the footsteps of other actors all the time. If I were Travis Kelce and his management team, I'd be taking a very hard look at Michael Strahan, who of course went into morning television very successfully and also is a very successful host. And I've seen his commercials. That's right, Yap Dem. I've seen Travis Kelce's commercials. But, a lot of sports people do commercials. How do you go even beyond that? And that's where I see Travis Kelce potentially going. That's right, Rob Gronkowski's already commentating. I saw him. He's crazy. He's as crazy behind the desk as he was on the field. Yes, that's right. Travis Kelce was on SNL. But again, that's not totally outside the realm of normal. Outside of the realm of normal would be following in the Michael Strahan footsteps. But Kelce's definitely taking those steps. And of course, he and his brother have a very successful podcast, which is now even more successful thanks to the Taylor Swift situation. Something that to some degree they engineered. I'm not saying Travis Kelce doesn't love Taylor Swift, but I think part of the reason he loves her is because she is Taylor Swift and how much she's helping his career. I think that was definitely at least a 50% business move. And it worked, so you can't really blame the guy because it's worked for him incredibly, incredibly well. It's helped Jason Kelce as well. It's put them both on the map. And maybe their podcast could have a future as well in some other degree. Maybe it could eventually get a TV or a streaming deal. I think those things are all on the table. Then I think in addition to that, the SpongeBob thing, I think the commercials were very, very good this year. And then also, of course, the trailers. And we'll talk more about the biggest trailer in a moment. But first, I want to point out to you, just to give you some perspective, some other most watched things. So if you take the Super Bowls out of that, you can see it's the moon landing and all Super Bowls. But if you want to look at other things, just to give you a little bit of an idea, if you're wondering. So non-Super Bowl most watched telecasts, you've got MASH. And I think it's interesting that you don't have anything particularly recent here. which shows how much streaming has, I think, really hurt the communal aspect of television. You know, it used to be you felt that everybody was watching. That's one of the reasons I think Game of Thrones is so popular. And that's one of the reasons the Super Bowl was so cool this year. I myself had not gotten out to the store day of, but I heard people, I had friends who went shopping at the last minute to get some snacks, and they were like, it was pandemonium and it was amazing. I picked up some snacks for my parents to help them out on Saturday. And every store I went to, for the most part, had Super Bowl food. And that was so cool. I bet you next year they do even more. Oh yes, Usher's halftime show also, of course, was a big draw. And then again, love it or hate it, it still generated a ton of conversation. The Super Bowl was like pouring fuel on the fire of social media. And there was some pretty funny stuff. Even Travis Kelce yelling at his coach. A new meme was born. It was hilarious. I loved that. I'm sure his coach didn't love it, but I don't think his coach even cares at this point because they won. All right, so MASH, Dallas, Cheers, the 1994 Winter Olympics women's figure skating. I looked it up, and you're right. I mean, sure enough, that was the Nancy Kerrigan, Tonya Harding year. The day after, my parents actually showed that to me when I was little. They showed me like it must have been like a re-airing of it or something. That was a special about what happened the day after a nuclear bomb was dropped. And I still remember scenes from it to this day. Some guy had all his skin falling off, kind of like in RoboCop. I was like, yee. Hey, Dolly Parton, welcome back. That's adorable. Roots, iconic, of course. And then I'm surprised how low Seinfeld is. At least it made it onto the list. That, to me, is very surprising. All right, and then let's now talk about the most watched trailers of all time, because Deadpool just broke that list. There, where'd it go? There it is. Ha! All right, I think most watched is taking up most of my space here on what I can see. All right, so let me get rid of SpongeBob. Bye, SpongeBob. All right, so the Deadpool trailer. It didn't trend. It didn't trend on Sunday night, which I think surprised a lot of us. Hey, Tiff, I think a lot of us were really surprised that it didn't trend, but it's okay. Everybody still watched it. I myself, even though I covered it and broke it down and watched it with you, and so I spent a lot of time with that trailer, on Monday morning I still watched it several more times. I loved it so much. I'm a huge X-Men fan. Let me do a poll. I know you guys love the polls. How many times did you watch the Deadpool trailer? We'll just do Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. Once. Under 5. Under 10. No, over 5. We'll just do over 5. And then we'll go didn't watch it, in case like you're living under a rock, or you don't, or a walk, or you just want to be contrary. Hey, Cat Shack, thanks for gifting a membership. So anyone, by the way, can vote in a poll. It's not just for members. Anyone can participate in a poll. You just have to click on it and cast your vote. So how good did Deadpool do? It was big. It was really big. Deadpool and Wolverine in the first 24 hours was watched 365 million times. That just edges out Spider-Man No Way Home's trailer, which was the previous record by 10 million views, which was at 355. Deadline, by the way, has the wrong number in their article. They have it listed at 255. It's 355. I double-checked a couple of places, and it's 355. So that's fantastic. Very happy about that. I do feel that both movies have a similar vibe. They're very much nostalgia plays. You know, one last hurrah before these Fox universes or Sony universes are swallowed up by the MCU. And they both have the MCU participating in this film. So I think that's one of the reasons that, you know, I think people are excited about the increase in quality or going back to when it was really good. Hey, Verena, thanks for upgrading to BTT Inside Access. And I really expect Disney and Ryan Reynolds, who's of course very much a part of the ad campaign for Deadpool and Wolverine, to really, really follow the publicity playbook that Sony did. As I said before, I think that you probably will not get any confirmation of any of the X-Men in the movie. You know, that's why they put Pyro in there. They don't mind ruining Pyro. I think they'll probably ruin 1 or 2 characters. And I saw a horrible reveal, by the way, a scoop from an anonymous scooper on Twitter that made me very angry and ruined something that I think would have been wonderful to experience. So really, you should mute Deadpool and Wolverine on social media, because I was just, I was really, really upset about it. So, but I'm excited about this because I could not be a bigger X-Men fan, both the comics and the movies. I know they ended up eventually being crap, but they were really, really good for a while, and I'm very excited about that. I have friends who are also big X-Men fans, particularly Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I'm not even going to confirm what the leak was because it was so bad. I don't want that to happen to anyone else. So anyway, I know that I have some friends who are extremely excited to see Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. So I'm pretty excited about it. But I think that there will be a couple of things that they will never confirm, and you'll have to just go and see the movie to just fully see it for yourself, which I think is very exciting. Very, very exciting. All right, now, so this obviously makes us feel like there's going to be big box office. So what are we going to do? Let's take a look at some box office. All right, so the first box office I want to look at is Spider-Man No Way Home. Because Spider-Man No Way Home, okay, let me close the poll, and then I want to ask you a new question. So let me close the poll. Hold on. 40% of you only watched it 5 times or less. 29% over 5. 22% just once. And then 6% didn't watch it at all. Oh, you're too cool for Deadpool and Wolverine. What? So it mostly, as you can see, under 5 being the most is interesting to me. But I guess a lot of people watched it the most under 5 times. Oh, nobody. You love the finger snap too? Me too. That's just great. Matthew McFadden is worth every penny for that. Hey, Drago. Thanks for gifting a membership. Let me do a new poll and ask you what you thought of the trailer. What did you think of the... Don't ruin anything, you guys. Brian, if you ruin that, I'm going to ban you for life. Okay. What did you think of the trailer? What did you think of the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer? Loved it. I think I asked this the other day. So let me say, are you going to see Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters? I asked it on the live stream, the live breakdown. Are you going to see Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters? Heck yeah. Need to see more. Streaming or we'll do digital, and then we'll do streaming, because those are 2 very different options, aka Disney Plus. All right, again, anyone can vote in a poll. You don't have to be a member to vote in the poll. All right. Don't do it, Brian. Okay. All right, so anyway, here's, I'm sorry, you'll see me in a minute. Let me just get this bigger so you can actually frickin' read it. All right, there's Spider-Man No Way Home's box office situation, all right? It opened to $260 million. Where's my red arrow? Oh, forget it. You can see it there. It opened to $260 million. And then its domestic was almost $1 billion alone. It did $1.1 billion overseas and almost got to $2 billion worldwide. That's incredible. That's incredible. If Deadpool can even do a fraction of that, we're all going to be very happy. Then I also want to have you look at the X-Men box office. Look at this. This is interesting. I could have done just Deadpool, but I wanted you to see all the X-Men box office. All right, so I'll be back. I'll be back. All right, I'll be back. All right, so you can see the Deadpool. When you look at the worldwide numbers, Deadpool, the top grossing X-Men movie. But look how well the Wolverine movies do as well. So it's really a no-brainer to put them together. With X-Men Days of Future Past, which was extremely Wolverine-centric, and Logan right behind it. That's right, CM, none of them have reached $1 billion. None of them have reached $1 billion. But, you know, I think a lot of these movies came out at a different time, you know, before that was really the case. But yeah, I think this is definitely, I think, you know, unless something goes horribly wrong, I do believe this will be the first X-Men billion-dollar movie. And the first MCU billion-dollar movie in quite some time. Let's take a look at those numbers. All right, so there's a lot of MCU box office, as you can see. But let's take a look at the top box office. All right? So, there's Spider-Man No Way Home. Is the 3rd most successful Marvel movie of all time, behind 2 of the big Avengers movies, with Endgame almost at $3 billion. Oh, that's incredible. I don't think this is going to get to 3, but I do believe, because it has the X-Men element into it, and I think Ryan Reynolds is very clever, I do believe it'll probably get to 2 billion. I wouldn't be surprised if it passes No Way Home. No Way Home came out at the tail end of the pandemic. I think that was still a little bit of a factor. So I think it's definitely going to clear 1 billion, but I think, sorry, I'm taking a drink of water. I think there is a chance that it could come close or cross the 2 billion mark. As you can see, Marvel has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. $10 billion movies. That's pretty good. $10 billion club movies. So I think they might be able to do that with Deadpool. I think for sure it'll hit 1 billion. My question is now, how close can it get to 2 billion? I'll poll you in a minute, and then you guys can ask me some questions while you vote. Are you going to see Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters? 77% of you say heck yeah. Oh, that's promising. 10% say need to see more. 7% are waiting for streaming on Disney Plus. That's the free option, or no extra cost. Whereas 4% are willing to wait to fork over some money in the digital space. Tyler Rod says, do you think Disney will release both R and PG-13 cuts of Deadpool? That would help them get to 2 billion. Oh my gosh, Tyler, thank you for bringing that up. That's genius. That might be the thing that potentially keeps it from getting close to 2 billion because it does not have the PG-13 rating. Now, I have to say, I think people are going to take their kids to see Deadpool. I think it's just too big of a party not to go. I think there's some, I at one point, as you know, advocated for a PG-13 cut of Deadpool. But I think at this point, I don't think it's worth it. I think, at this point, it's supposed to be art, and I feel like you just have to let it be what it is. Also, I think for the most part, I don't know if people are going to have a problem with the reasons why Deadpool 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine is rated R. I think the only potential thing is there might be like some, innuendo. And I think the only thing that really seems to sometimes be a little bit of a deal breaker is like sexual innuendo. But I got to tell you, I think it's going to be slight. I don't think they're going to do anything that's too much, And so I think if your child's on the internet, like I wouldn't take a baby to see Deadpool and Wolverine or even maybe a toddler. I think if I had a toddler, I'd probably go see it first. But I think anyone who can go on the internet, it's all fair game. I grew up seeing R-rated movies, but, and then my parents would just tell me to close my eyes at certain scenes. And so I think that's fine, All right, so hold on. Let me do a poll for how much do you think that this movie's going to make. But I do feel that with the R rating, I might change my prediction to maybe a little over 1 billion, or, like Joker 2 made 1 billion. So I think it's definitely going to make 1 billion, but now I don't know about 2 billion anymore when I think about the R rating. How do you think Deadpool and Wolverine will do at the box office? Let's see here. Under 1 billion. Around 1 billion. Then we'll do around 1.5 billion. And then finally we'll do around 2 billion. All right. I haven't seen a movie that I felt like I would see multiple times in the theater since like X2 and The Dark Knight. Not even the one with Heath Ledger. Like, that's how good this looks to me. But then again, I am a huge X-Men fan. So any questions or comments about the Super Bowl and Deadpool viewership? Mika, I liked Joker, but I don't know how many times I wanted to watch Joker. I think Joker is brilliant, but I think it's missing a little bit of a fun factor. Love says Barbie level successful. Oh, that's pretty good, Love. That's around 1.5. That's around what Barbie did. Haunted Autumn saw Oppenheimer 4 times in theaters. That's a lot. I saw it twice. Tiff says, did any other trailers stand out to you? Yes, I thought all the trailers were good. I thought every trailer was fantastic at the Super Bowl. I'm surprised more people aren't paying attention to the Fall Guy spot, which I didn't react to because Universal's a little bit of a pain in the butt. Let's just say I censored myself with their how they handle trailer reactions. But I thought that one was, maybe that's why more people didn't pay attention to it, but I thought that one was incredible. Hey, Steven says, this is my No Way Home. Me too, Steven! I grew up on Fox X-Men, and even though the female characters deserve better, it will be nostalgic to see them. Totally agree. Like, when I watched No Way Home, I was like, I'm so glad the rest of you are having a good time. And I was like, oh, yes, I think some of these scenes are good. But honestly, you know, like, I'm going to have the X-Men situation, honestly. That's right, Shamshur. They did do Once Upon a Deadpool for PG-13, but I don't really think that worked out. And it took so long to release it. I just don't think it was I think the only way it works is if you do it at the same time, and then you have afternoon showings that kids can go see. Hey, Brett says, loving you how gleeful and giddy your coverage is. Thanks, Brett. We're all still those nerdy teens and gifted youngsters, just all grown up. Prancing over here too, Grace. I love it, Brett. Yes, it's so fun to be excited again, isn't it? It makes me very, very happy. All right, hold on. Let me see what's else going on here. Xtina says, I was in Vegas for Christina and Adele. No clue of the Super Bowl. Oh, it's a party. You got to come over here. Brian says, Beyonce Verizon commercial boosted by 49th. Was it boosted by that much? I thought that commercial was fun, for sure. Justin Michael says, do you think if Deadpool 3 is rated R, it will have a tough time making it past the billion mark? Well, as I just said, I think it will still make it to $1 billion, but now I'm a little nervous about $2 billion. Daniel Haradi said, Grace, Variety has just announced that Travis Kelce is producing a film premiering at South by Southwest. Oh, that's cool. Good for him that he's not on camera. Although, of course, he'll make a lot of that red carpet, which he should. So I'll go and look at that. Maybe we'll discuss it tomorrow. Zachary says, you know that story you tell about realizing Archie is never choosing between Betty or Veronica and going to DC? That's where I'm at with superhero movies. Thanks for remembering that, Zachary. For those of you who never heard my story, just briefly, the reason I stopped when I knew it was time to read adult comics was then one day I just threw my hands up in disgust and I was like, Archie is never going to choose between Betty and Veronica. This is ridiculous. So I decided to see what they were doing over in the adult comics section, you know, for grown-ups. And I picked up a Superman comic, although Batman would end up being my true love. But yes, just that's how it happened. And that's interesting. You feel the same way. And, you know, that's on there's really nowhere to go with Betty and Veronica in comics like that. Although I have to say I've gotten back into Archie comics as an adult because they're kind of like an escape. They're very soothing and calming. And they don't relate to any work that I do. So I really enjoy them for that reason. But yeah, I think at some point you just feel like there's a sameness. And I think that, you know, that's what bad superhero movies do to fans. And that's why it's a big problem. I think that was a big reason that Marvel is in so much trouble because I think there's just too many bad projects. I hope that Deadpool shows a return to form. Sonny says, is the hypes for Apes over? I thought that looked like a great trailer, but I think it just took too long. Let's see here. Mark says, you're the only reactor I saw to point out the Secret Wars comic in the trailer. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad. I was really glad that even though I did a live trailer breakdown, I still was able to, I think, you know, cover everything like I would in an edited trailer breakdown. Although next time I'm going to layer in even more images so that you don't lose. Someone said they missed having the reference images, so I'm going to make sure next time I load them in like I do for a live. Adam says, I hope the Deadpool 3 is as good as X2 or Days of Future Past. Me too, buddy. Me too. I hope it would be great if it was even better because those movies weren't perfect. All right, let me close this poll. My water tastes bad. Let me close this poll and then, hey, Mandito, I'm sorry you're feeling bad. And let me get to the next story. All right, so how do you think Deadpool and Wolverine will do at the box office? 40% of you think it'll do around 1 billion. 36% think 1.5. 14% think under $1 billion, but then only 7% think it'll get close to $2 billion. I really do feel that's the rated R aspect. Rashad says, my only gripe is where's Domino? You know, I gotta tell you, while I love Zazie Beetz, I don't really think her version of Domino really connected, in my opinion. And I think there are too many other female X-Men characters that they're gonna want to get in there. So I think Zazie Beetz is enough of a name that she probably is a little expensive, especially for a sequel. And so that's right, Riley. Where the heck is Mystique? I really, Rashad, I'm so glad you love Domino, and I'm glad to see it. And some people I'm sure did, but I don't think it was the overwhelming reaction that some other female X-Men, as you can see from the comments, get. And she is going to be in Joker 2, as CM just pointed out. All right, let's go to the next story of the day. Hold on. Story number 2. Where'd it go? Boop. All right. First look at Michael Jackson and the new Michael Jackson bio from Lionsgate and Universal, directed by Antoine Fuqua, produced by largely the Jackson family, and that's Michael Jackson's very own nephew, Jafar Jackson, playing the role. All right, so let me give you a bigger look at it so you can really see it. I gotta say, it looks really good. I'm really surprised at how good this looks. It's very on par with, at first I had thought maybe it was like a complimentary look at Michael Jackson, okay? Like it was like, you know, trying to do like, you know, the most complimentary version of him. But then when you look at what he looks like at that time, it's shockingly good. It's just shockingly amazing. They got the nose just right, the hair is just right, and here is him at that actual performance that they're recreating. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's just so good. And this is when he performed Man in the Mirror in the 1992-1993 Dangerous Tour. And Man in the Mirror, I think, is a really great kind of a song to highlight for a biography about him, because it's, of course, taking a look at Michael. Now, obviously, the movie to be here is Bohemian Rhapsody, where a lot of us felt that Rami Malek was uncanny as Freddie Mercury. I thought he was really fantastic. I mean, I think that this Jafar Jackson looks more like Michael Jackson than Rami Malek looked like Freddie Mercury. But I think Rami Malek really captured the spirit of Freddie Mercury. And if you watch that Live Aid concert in the film, it's one of the most amazing theatrical experiences. I can still remember watching it in Dolby, how incredible it was. It was like you were back at that iconic concert. And so I wonder if they're going to try and have that kind of a situation here where they really recreate it. Although, as Mika pointed out, there's been a lot of music biographies since, and they have all been duds. But Bohemian Rhapsody is a pretty attractive movie to try and duplicate. It made almost $1 billion at the box office, $910.8 million worldwide. It won an Oscar for Rami Malek, and it was nominated for a number of other Oscars, including Best Picture, and it won a couple of craft categories. And so the question is, can the Michael Jackson movie be that? I think it's a trickier sell. I think with the Freddie Mercury movie, it was a lot more about just being honest as to who Freddie Mercury really was, and a part of himself that because of the time period that he was in, he just couldn't be his full 100% true authentic self. And so to finally acknowledge that and to celebrate his music, I thought was really beautiful. But the Michael Jackson situation is infinitely more complex. Lone Wolf Media says, oh, it's so nice to see you again, Lone Wolf Media. What's your favorite Michael Jackson song? Thriller, obviously. I like all of Michael Jackson's music. When I was growing up, we had a VHS of Michael Jackson's best music videos, and we watched that quite a bit. And it was just incredible. Really, really good stuff. I mean, I really love the artistry of his music videos. Let's see here. I might have said he was a caricature, but it was a very compelling caricature, you know, Rami Malek. All right, hold on. All right, so I loved the movie. I loved the film. I gave it a very positive review. So the question is, Michael Jackson, of course, is an absolute legend. But how will audiences receive him today? This is where things get really tricky. I don't recall if you remember Pete Davidson talking about canceled celebrities and their work, if their work can live on. And he said, you know, the answer to the question as to how can you still listen to Michael Jackson music, Pete Davidson joked with headphones on. He was half joking, half saying what he really feels. And so I think that you have a difficult situation here where, you know, he had a very difficult situation with his family, his father in particular, who will be played by Coleman Domingo, who is hot off of Rustin, and then also, of course, The Color Purple, although The Color Purple did not connect. He's playing Michael Jackson's father. And Miles Teller has joined the movie as Michael Jackson's attorney. And I think Miles Teller will, I don't know, Miles Teller, you know, he was in The Offer, and he was incredible there. But The Offer did not do well. I don't know if Miles Teller is a draw or not. But, those are individuals that had a very complex, difficult relationship with Michael Jackson. There's just so much controversy around him. How will the movie handle that? How will the movie be honest about that while still celebrating the central figure here? There's Michael Jackson's actions themselves, like his sleepovers, his adoptions, and how he handled those children, although, of course, they've been very defensive of him. Hey, Cole. And then also his vision of himself. I think that Michael Jackson obviously had, a very complex view of himself because of what he did to himself with plastic surgery. I think, I thought that he was like a little bit more of a, let's say, Harley Quinn look. But when I compare these photos, I think they did get the skin tone just right. I think people remember Michael Jackson as he was at the very end, where he did not look this healthy, let's say. But I do, so I'm curious to see if they'll even get to that point. How will they get to that point, if they will get to that point? And then, of course, there's the controversy over how he died, that his doctors significantly, his doctor basically killed him. So it's negligence. So it's a very complex. How does this just be a fun concert movie? I think that's where it becomes a difficult situation. But I know that I know the FBI might have cleared him, but it's just a very bizarre situation. I think what we know now today, you can't just write off bizarre situations as simply being bizarre. Where there's smoke, there's fire, I don't think you can just write off these things as eccentricities anymore. It's just too bizarre for him to have sleepovers with young boys. It's just an odd situation. So let's see how they decide to do. All right, Riley, you guys want a poll? Let's see if you'll see the Michael Jackson movie. I have to say, though, that is an incredible first look. Will you see the Michael Jackson biopic? For sure. Maybe. Oh, wait. If it's an event. If it's a big hit. Let's say that. If it's a big hit. If it's a big hit. Worried about it. And then we'll do now. No thanks. All right. Anyone can vote in a poll. Only members can talk in the chat, but anyone can vote in a poll. Some of you have very strong feelings on this. All right. So as you vote, does anyone have any questions about this story before we get to the last story and then head into the Q&A? Does anybody have any questions about this story? Wow, a lot of you are very negative about it. In fact, right now, no thanks is winning the poll. Uh-oh. I hope they didn't spend a lot of money on this. Daniel, I thought Elvis was pretty good too, but I didn't think it was as good as Bohemian Rhapsody. I liked it a lot, though. Mika, that's interesting that you say Baz Luhrmann would have been perfect, because I do agree that I don't know how, as much as I like Antoine Fuqua, he did a fabulous job directing The Equalizer 3. I don't really know if he's the right person to direct this. Dallin says, I think they did an incredible job with this first look. As a huge MJ fan, I will really hope they discuss his struggles with vitiligo. I think that's this skin coloring condition. Some models, though, just, wear it proudly and have actually gotten a big career out of that. Hey, Tiff, thanks for gifting a membership. Mary says, I would prefer a Janet Jackson biography. It would be great if she was included here as well, being a big part of that family. Dane, the Whitney Houston biography, unfortunately, was the quality of a Lifetime movie. It wasn't bad, and I liked a lot of the things they covered and discussed in it, but it was not a good enough quality film. Poke, stop trying to fast forward us. Oh, that's right, Sheldon. Will they do that really difficult Pepsi commercial where he was severely burned? I'll be curious, that's tough. Steven, yeah, Halle Bailey would be a very good Janet Jackson, actually. She'd be excellent. She's a perfect Janet Jackson. She even has a similar voice. She'd be a great choice for that. Somebody should talk to her. Although, again, I don't know if anybody wants to see this stuff. I think after The Color Purple, her team is going to be a little bit more careful because that movie should have done really well, but it did not, which I think is a problem. All right, so let me see. Let me close the poll, and then we'll go on to the last story of the day, and then we'll do the Q&A. Hold on. All right, 35% of you do not want to see it. That's a big number. 27% definitely want to see it. 18% will go if everybody else is going. And then 17% of you are nervous about it. That's pretty bad. I hope they did not spend a lot of money on this movie. I think the trailer will obviously get a lot of attention. Let's see what the tone of the movie is. Ashaman says, I feel very uncomfortable with this movie. I'm not watching it for personal reasons. I think a lot of people are going to feel the same way, Ashaman. I think this is going to, despite the quality of Michael Jackson's work on stage and on camera, the things that he did in his personal life are really, really bad. All right, but that is a very good first look. It's very, very, it looks very, very on par. I wish they'd taken him from the other side. He needs more strands hanging down. Those look great on Michael. As some of you might recall, I like to tell the story of how I saw Michael Jackson's final tour before he unfortunately passed away. I saw him at Madison Square Garden. And Whitney Houston was there, by the way. It was a crazy night. Marlon Brando came out on a chaise and talked to us for way too long and actually ended up getting booed because it was taking so long for Michael Jackson to come out. He was really late. It was like 2.5 hours or something before he took the stage. But I got to tell you, he was incredible. He was incredible. That was at the 30th anniversary show? Yes, it was. Yeah, it was an incredible, incredible show. It was as incredible for how bizarre and weird it was. For instance, I will tell you that it was originally supposed to be a 360 show. And so they'd sold seats for the entire stadium. But when we got there, they told us that our seats were not actually there because at the last minute, Michael Jackson had decided not to do a 360 show. So anyone who had purchased a seat in that section was stuck. And they were like, you can either, I'm surprised they didn't make us leave, but they were like, you can stay, but you don't have a seat. And we were like, okay. So we just walked around and because, people were late and because also it was taking so long, people were late, people were getting up to get snacks. So we would just sit in other people's seats and then get up when they came back and be like, sorry. And then we'd tell them, we'd be like, we had seats, but then Michael Jackson made it so you couldn't sit there anymore. And so I think it helped that we were little. And so we just went around and did that. And so we still got to see the show from many different perspectives because it was just really nuts. All right. So that's that story. Let's go to the third story of the day. Hold on. Here we go. Boom, baby. It's a slow news day, but this short is just so incredibly extraordinary. If you have a chance, go onto social media or YouTube and look at it because it's not only so funny, but it makes me feel better about the Barbie situation and it makes me feel better about the Oscars because it's just such an incredible short. Danielle says, I let Michael when I was 11, I was part of the Flower Girls. Are you talking about Michael Jackson, Danielle? That's very cool that you had that experience as well. That's awesome. So I just wanted to, Danielle is a great member of the BTT community, so I didn't want to ignore her comment. And I just happened to see it really easily, and we just started the story. All right, okay, but let's try and keep it on track, everybody. All right, so let me show you some screenshots from this. Amazing production values. Clearly, they have saved the Barbie sets. I love that they saved the Barbie sets. I thought that, don't worry, Danielle, you don't have to apologize. I love that they saved the Barbie sets. I thought that was fantastic, and they recreated the magic of the movie so incredibly well. And in this short, I won't spoil too many of the jokes for you, but Jimmy Kimmel needs help getting to Oscarland, and they kind of play out some of the elements from the movie. Helen Mirren comes back as the narrator. Kate McKinnon's in it, as you can see. Ryan Gosling. America Ferrera also is in here, and I won't spoil what she does because I thought it was really clever. And I thought it was weird that Margot Robbie didn't participate. Ryan Gosling's there. He had a very funny joke about him not winning the Oscar. I thought that was great. But I wish that Margot Robbie had participated. You know, I know she didn't get nominated, but I feel like the movie's nominated for Best Picture, and I think I would have wanted to be a part of this because it's just so funny. It was great. It was very well written. It was surprisingly funny. You know, they had a thing where you'll see that they go to Oscarland just like the way they go to the human world with like these little vignettes, and they did them for some of the different front runners, and they had very, very strong jokes. I was like, this is well written. I was very surprised at how well written it was. And so what I liked about this is that it was so great to see a guy, Jimmy Kimmel, having fun in the world of Barbie. That it wasn't just something that women could have fun with, that guys could have fun with it too, as Kens. And so I really loved that element of this. And I think that it gave the movie a lot of respect. And so I'm glad to see that, because I think that the Oscar nominations really kind of made it seem like the movie wasn't respected by Hollywood. So I was kind of great to see that come back. This was so well produced that many people who watched it, even the trades, said this really should have been the opening of the show. It's so strong. Maybe it was going to be, but then they decided at the last minute, let's try and get people to tune in because, of course, the viewership has been so low this year. I will say that they did move up the time of the telecast. The Oscars now start at 7 p.m. I think maybe to keep it from going too late. I'm very excited about the Oscars. I will be live tweeting it as I always do, and of course doing a live stream review the very next day. But I think, you know, I think the 7 p.m. time is a great idea. I mean, these days I watch a lot of my TV at 6:30, 7 o'clock anyway, because EST haunted on them, 7 p.m. EST, because I'm trying not to stay up too late, and there's nothing that's telecast anymore. Everything you watch is streaming. So that's what I do. And so I think 7 p.m. is a great time to watch evening content. It'll probably still end at 11, SMR Goose, but at least you'll know. At least, you know, and at least the show won't be rushed. I hope this means they're doing more fun stuff. I hope this means that the writing is this level quality throughout. I hope the opening is even better than this, maybe. That would be incredible if the opening was even this good. So I'm very, very excited about it. Does anybody have any questions or comments about the Oscars before we go to the Q&A section? What did Dwight say? I don't see it. You really should watch Barbie. I really feel Barbie's for everybody. Rashad says, do you think that Margot Robbie didn't show because of her snub? It's probably because she was too busy. I mean, she just signed a huge deal with Warner Brothers, so that's fantastic. But I think if she'd been nominated, she would have made sure she was there. Will, I don't know when there's going to be a stunt category. It's ridiculous that they're adding a casting category before there's a stunt category. I mean, with all due respect to casting, I don't really feel it's an Oscarable achievement because I don't think it's so much who gets the award. I think casting directors are, of course, important, but directors and producers and other actors sometimes have as much say, if not more, in who is cast. And certainly the studio. Are you going to go and give an Oscar to the studio executive who insisted on it? Right? I think it's ridiculous to have a casting Oscar. I don't know. Kay Walton disagrees with me. They do have a division within the Academy, Kay Walton. That's an excellent point. And they clearly lobbied for this Oscar. But I mean, what's next? A publicity campaign Oscar? I mean, I kind of could see that, to be honest with you. But also, we're just getting too many Oscars at this point. I think stunt work should have come before. I think stunt work, and I would say voice actors. I think stunt work and voice actors, but I don't know about voice actors really, to be honest with you. I feel like animation is enough. I don't think, this isn't like video games aren't in the mix here. So I don't really know if voice work would agree. So the way I would go would be stunt work, publicity campaigns, voice work, and then casting directors at the very bottom. Casting directors to me is too inside baseball. That's right, Tiff. Florence Pugh was incredible in Puss in Boots. I will agree. Will says motion capture actor. Maybe they could combine that into one category. Maybe that would work. Maybe they could combine voice work and motion capture into one off-screen performance work. Maybe it could be animated Animation or VFX performance. That's what you could call it. Animation or VFX performance. That's funny, Dane. Craft Services Oscar. Did you see the spread for that movie? Well, I have to say, in New York, you often walk by a lot of craft services tables because they're just out in the public. And I've often wondered if I should try and go up and get something because they're often left unattended. So make sure you only pick up wrapped food. But I've seen some that look incredible, and I've seen some that look really bad, where you're like, there is nothing to eat on that set. Tiff says, what if there was a straight-up producer Oscar? No, well, that's just Best Picture, as you just said. That's right, little baby pizza. I should just have a clipboard and be like, of course I'm working on this production. How dare you ask me? Grab like a bunch of, well, I can't eat sugar anymore. So I guess grab some fresh fruit. That's not worth the effort for that. That's right, LP. I would not eat anything that wasn't wrapped. Adam's Fear says viewership is low because no one has cable. But these things are on streaming now. You could watch the Golden Globes. I think it was on Paramount Plus, actually. CBS is having quite the year of events. All right, so let's go on to the Q&A. All right, hold on. But this was a great little short, and you should definitely go and watch it when you get a chance. All right, Q&A. Here it comes. Where'd it go? All right. Booyah! That's what I'm trying to say is the Q&A. All right. Anything you want to ask me for 10 minutes. It's 3:02. So anything you want to ask me until 3:12. And then I'll do shout-outs. Buck's Basement says, Grace, rank these movies from best to worst, since you said Madam Web is terrible. Madam Web, Venom 2, Fantastic Four, the later one, Morbius, Catwoman, Batman, and Robin. Ooh. All right. The worst one is Madam Web. It's unwatchable. Then after that, I would go Catwoman. Then I would go Batman and Robin. Then I would go Venom 2. Then I would go Fantastic Four because I like the first act. And then Morbius, I think, is actually the best of all of those films. I had fun with Morbius. All right. That Wiccan fan says, heard any more tea about Agatha or Wiccan lately? Joe Locke has been killing it on Broadway. I think he's going to be really popular in Agatha. I sure hope so, because people have been awfully mean to him so far. I haven't heard anything about that. I've spilled a lot of tea on the Agatha show. I'm getting a little nervous about scoops. I feel like scoops, I'm so upset about that Deadpool 3 scoop. I think scooping's out of control. Let's see here. Danny says, hi, Grace. What do you think about the SAG Awards streaming on Netflix? I'm curious to see how they do. Those are very important awards. They will really be large predictors. Dwight Baldwin says, it came out today that Amazon Prime doesn't have Dolby Vision or Dolby Atmos for their ad tier. I think someone's suing them, actually, over this ad tier. This is outrageous, and I think there will be backlash against streaming services. What are your thoughts? Well, first of all, Dwight, that was very generous of you. Thank you. I think that, there's nothing wrong with adding an ad tier, in my opinion. I think that especially because I've seen ads done really well on some services, and I think that it's very expensive to produce this content and to produce so much of it. I do think that not having those elements available is a problem, and hopefully it just was a matter of not having it ready in time for launch. So hopefully, if you're paying top dollar for something, you should be getting a top dollar experience. Poke says, why change the TVA for the movie? Well, I saw a theory that maybe it's a different, like a variant TVA. Although we already saw variant TVAs with Loki season 2, right? But that's one theory I've seen. Teeter Tot says, have you listened to the new Beyonce songs? I liked her look in the songs. I particularly liked with the short hair and the cowboy hat for 16 Carriages. I thought she looked gorgeous there. But I didn't love that song, and I haven't listened to the other one yet. Tiff says, after Madam Web, how do you think Merced will do as Dina in The Last of Us? I gotta tell you, I think Isabella Merced is miscast as Dina in The Last of Us. I don't think she fits with that whole show, but I'm open to having my mind changed. And honestly, they've done such a good job with casting up until now, it would be weird if all of a sudden they lost that ability. Although I feel the actress that they cast in season 1 as Dina was perfect, so I feel kind of bad that she wasn't on there. Nork says, you know, who knew the Fox X-Men universe would one day come to save the MCU? That's right. Well, there are just so many wrongs to right there. We're all like, show us comics accurate Rogue. Show us comics accurate Cyclops. Storm. We feel so bad for those actors who didn't get a good chance. Shay says, what would be peak Magneto casting for you? I'm not sure. I liked the idea of Giancarlo Esposito for Professor Xavier. And so I wouldn't mind race bending the two of them to kind of mirror, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. I worry that today you can't do that kind of interesting commentary anymore, which is a real shame. I think if these things were better done, people would be more open to it. So I kind of like that idea. I liked the idea of it being Giancarlo Esposito and Denzel Washington. I liked that a lot. I don't think that'll ever happen. Or maybe with Giancarlo. But I'm open for doing something different with Magneto because we've already had two fabulous Magnetos with Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender. I think it's time to do something new. Oh, see, Alberto liked Morbius too, right? It was good. Jareem says, when do you think we'll get the full trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine? Probably my guess would be at the start of the summer, like late April, early May. That's when I think you'll probably get another trailer. They don't want to give away too much. David Kyle says, how influential do you think Taylor was for the Super Bowl? I think she was definitely a factor. I think she's a factor in getting more people interested in football. I hope that people who are watching football for Taylor Swift, though, actually start to learn about football and the other players. And I hope that's just an entry point instead of where they stop. Mika says, Mark Ruffalo, Captain America 4 slip up. I don't want to get in trouble either. I thought it was funny that Variety had to issue a thing saying that Mark Ruffalo misspoke. We just want to clarify that. I'm telling you, the studios are getting very serious about spoilers. So I think, the only people who are really can still cause pandemonium, I think, are the anonymous scoopers. 80s model, I'm so glad you loved the live trailer breakdown. We're definitely going to keep doing that. I'm so happy. You know what I like the most about it? I like being able to interact with you guys in live, real time. And I also like being able to share my enthusiasm about it. It seemed more fun. It seemed like more in the moment. And I really liked that. I thought there was just more emotions. I loved it. I was in a glass case of emotion. Let's see here. Mark Lavelle wants to point out that Margot Robbie was in Australia. Thank you very much. Yeah, but maybe she could have done something remotely. I think I would have tried to figure it out. Shay says, what would be P? Oh, you already answered that. Carson Johnson, that's a nice name, says, are you finally going to watch the Eras tour on Disney Plus? No, it's too long. I don't want to watch that, but it's too much for me to watch, Like, I love Taylor. I love Tay-Tay. I listen to her, but I don't want to watch 3.5 to almost 4 hours of Taylor. Maybe, I guess, someday if I was cleaning, I'd turn it on in the background. Let's see here. Hey, Grace, great Madam Web review. Will you be doing a Savage spoiler review? I sure will. I was going to work on it this morning, but I was up too late making that review. But it will go up tomorrow. Eddie, I'm glad you enjoyed my coverage of the Super Bowl trailers. That means a lot. Shahar, did I finish right when the halftime show started? Hooray! I'm so glad. Let's see here. Jaden says, oh, thank you, Jaden. Hi, Grace. I was wondering if you were doing a Paramount preview. Unrelated question. I don't think I'm going to. I think that those movies aren't big enough to support their own video. Unrelated question. Should Phoebe Waller-Bridge be dropped from running the Tomb Raider series for Amazon, especially after Indiana Jones? I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Phoebe Waller-Bridge. So much of what she's done lately is absolutely horrible, but yet she was so good with Fleabag, so it makes me a little nervous. Daniel Harati, I'm sorry, I don't like to comment on other people in my space. I just don't think it's appropriate. I am Zeon says, Yo Grace, been a subscriber since the Thor Ragnarok videos. Yay! And I love the positivity here. Keep doing what you do. Aw, thank you. If you had to watch one, Madam Web, Poor Things, or Saltburn, which one would it be? Well, I haven't seen Saltburn, but I think I would pick that. You know, people seem to have at least kind of enjoyed that. And then I would even maybe try Poor Things because it has so many Oscar nominations and wins so far from other awards shows. Madam Web would be last. Hey, Tavi Primo, welcome back. Tiff says, is there a recent action scene that stands out to you? Been missing well-choreographed action. Well, I love that shot in the Deadpool trailer when he was reloading his guns in midair. I thought that was so cool. And I also really loved the John Wick 4 action sequences in Berlin at the nightclub and also in Paris in the building with the dragon's breath gunfire, and then also, of course, on the stairs. I thought that was really good. Mads Mikkelsen is an interesting choice for Magneto, Alfarius. That's pretty good, actually. I like that. Chris, I'm trying to find out if there's a Joker trailer for Valentine's Day. I'm not sure. Oh boy, that would really mess up my plans for tomorrow. We'll see. If it is, I'll drop everything to cover that. And that would be a live breakdown. But we'll see. I don't think there will be a trailer, to be honest with you, because the movie's still too far out. But, maybe like a first look. But he's given a lot of looks at this point. Brian Sillette says, Grace, will you do a Bad Batch Season 3 review? I will, for sure. But Disney has a new thing where for their streaming shows, the review embargo lifts when the show drops, just like Netflix. So I can't review it until then. Let's see here. Hector Vega says, what's the new box office estimate for Madam Web, and what does it mean for the Craven movie? The Craven movie from its trailer alone looked better to me than this one. Let's see what the box office is. Usually some people will hate watch a movie or I've looked at some of the New York theaters and for instance, the AMC Lincoln Square IMAX is almost sold out. And I was like, those poor people. But they've certainly sold some tickets. Oh, it's 313. Let's see here. I don't like Maika Monroe for Jean Grey. I don't think she's a good choice. Alex Legate says, a fellow Matthew Rhys fan, thoughts on a good Marvel role for him? Maybe Doom? No, I don't want to cover up Matthew Rhys's face. I would love for Matthew Rhys to finally get a role where he gets to be as zany as he is in real life. I don't know if you've ever seen an interview with this guy, but he is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Jesse says, Eras Tour watch-along. That's such a long time for a watch-along. Adam Sphere says, how can Sony produce magic like Spider-Verse and then fail with Madam Web? That's because they have a Spider-Man. They can use a Spider-Man there. Multiple Spider-Mans. I think not having Spider-Man is a real problem. Movie TV reviews. How are you spamming like that? That's funny, Steven, about Morbius versus Catwoman. Daniel Harati says, what do you think about the Cruise-Tarantino rumors? I think that'd be great. Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt in a Tarantino movie? When's it coming out? I think I must have gotten everybody's things at this point. Right? I think I did. Let me go see if I missed movies, TV reviews. Where'd it go? How far back was this? I don't see it anywhere. Are you the retracted message? Oh, you retracted everything. Hey, Emmanuel, thank you for gifting. And then Jareem says, I liked I, Tonya, but I always thought Amy Adams should have been cast as Tonya Harding. Yeah, I don't think Margot Robbie was well cast there. I think she did a nice job, but I think that she really miscast herself in that role. All right, I see one last question here, and then I got to do shout-outs. CM says, Grace, do you have any tips for anxiety? Been having a lot of it lately. Well, that's really tough, and if it's really, really bad, you might want to see a professional in that area. But my advice for anybody would be to make sure you have things where you can blue sky and relax. It's really important to take time out of your day, doing something you love, or going for a walk, or maybe trying to do both, to just clear your head and just take a few moments to enjoy life. I think that will help you out significantly. And then Trouble Latrice says the fact that Grace would pick Poor Things over Madam Web when she said so many awful things about it says a lot. It does. It does. All right, shout outs. Where are you? What are you doing? Just so I can say hi. And then I gots to go. Mark Nagel says, watching with my husband who is recovering from a seizure. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that, Mark. And, well wishes to your husband. Scodian Sky says, eating pancakes for Mardi Gras and trying to keep my cat Clyde from eating my roses for your wife's roses. Oh, no! The cat ate your roses! That's great. Boy, a lot of stuff going on at once, right? Everything's happening at once right now. It's crazy. Oh, Haunted Autumn. No snow in Minnesota? We got a ton of it here. Hey, Elise. Sneaky is in Denmark walking their puppy. That's adorable. Well, the Fawn says hi to everyone, taking a work break. James Griffin says, celebrating Pancake Day in London. Oh, no wonder so many of you are eating pancakes. I didn't know it was Pancake Day. If only I could eat pancakes. I miss pizza day. Bye, High Priest. Let's see here. JLo 1972 says, just voted for the whitelist. Oh, I cast my vote too. JLo 1972. You voted all the way down the line on the whitelist? That's interesting. They're very aggressive. They sent out emails to everybody. There's been so many shareholder votes, and this is the first time that Disney emailed everybody and said, you want to vote? Stephen Turner says, have the rest of the week off rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender in Brooklyn. Oh, I just did that myself, Stephen. Great way to spend some time. Oh, Movies TV Review says, I ask it again. Hey, Grace, if you could cast Léa Seydoux in a Marvel movie, what character would she be playing? I wouldn't cast her in a Marvel movie. I'm sorry to say. I think she's very nice, but I don't think she's a particularly exciting talent, in my opinion. Rashad says, laid up in bed, not wanting to get up and get ready for work. Sorry, Rashad. We've all been there. Loving the stream, as always. Well, Mark Lavelle says, it's 4 a.m. in Perth, Australia. Good day, mate. It's almost good day. Danny has a day off in Guatemala, planning tomorrow's dinner with your girlfriend. Oh, you're going to have a happy Valentine's Day. That's wonderful. And, that's very nice of you, CM, to send well wishes to Mark. Dana O'Leary says, eating Swedish fish and working. Had my first story published today on one of the biggest marketing publications on Medium. Congratulations! That's so great. I'm so happy for you. Hey, in Puerto Rico, Movies TV Reviews. Let's see here. SMR Goose is cheering on Rashad to rally. I love it. Ricardo Sanchez says it's Shrove Tuesday, so I'm having pancakes today. Love from Brian. Oh, hey, Brian and Ricardo in Edinburgh. Everybody's eating pancakes but me. Aubrey Smalls is dyeing her hair in Phoenix. I wonder what color. Daniel Harati says Berlin Film Festival on Thursday. Could meet Cillian Murphy. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, Alfarius, thank you for gifting some memberships. I appreciate it. Man in the Moon Reacts is all into Waffle Day, but it ain't Waffle Day. We should celebrate both. Sensation says, I'm sitting here watching your stream while waiting for chicken wings to arrive. Ooh, I don't really eat chicken wings. I'm more of a chicken tender person. I thought it was hilarious that everybody was reporting that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce split an order of chicken tenders and fries in Vegas at the after party. I was like, what level of coverage is this? But then it did make me want chicken tenders and fries. And to some degree, I did think, they're just like us. Jermaine has chicken McNuggets from McDonald's. Oh my gosh. Oh, in Germany. Ooh, European McDonald's. Daniel says, celebrating a new job offer. Maybe I should eat some pancakes. You totally should. Oh, that would be so fun. And congrats. That's really, I'm so happy for you. Chris says, in Los Angeles, I'm currently at work at my desk, and I always love watching your videos. We won't tell anybody, Chris. Shh, he's working. What are you talking about? Let's see here. Oh, you're a Man on the Moon. You're Owl Watch? That's great. I'm glad. I remember Owl Watch. I've never had chicken tenders from Popeyes, Elia. I got to find a Popeyes. All right, I better get going. All right, everybody. I had a lovely time with you as always, and I will see you tomorrow. There will be a spoiler review for Madam Web, and I will be definitely doing a live stream because I got to spend Valentine's Day with you guys. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye.